So next, we have Robin and Jean Willis. And they came in, and it's always a joy when they come because they are missionaries to the Honduras. And they've been a part of Joyland for a long time. And we support them as a church. And so they're going to come up, and Meg said, do you want them to talk about something in particular? And I said, I don't know. She said, what about a day in the life of? So I don't know if you guys are going to come up here and talk about a day in the life of, but sometimes as missionaries, you know, it's they come and they just share missionaries I've been exposed to, they just come and share the highlight, you know. And I've always appreciated that the Willises come and they just shared what's going on. And they don't try to hype us up or anything like that. They're just very genuine people. So come on up, Jean. Come on up, Robin. And one of you is going to get mic'd up here. It's going to be Jean.
While he's getting set up, I'll say, Janet, I appreciate hearing your testimony. I just heard bits and pieces since we were not here, but praise God, you're doing good and looking great. So, yeah.
All right, great.
And it's important to know God cares about the little things in our lives, our little desires. You know, I've seen that over and over since we've been in Honduras, how God knows our thoughts. You know, we don't even have to pray because I'm a picky person. And that doesn't go good in a third world country. But, you know, we would visit friends and their houses were dark and dingy. And I thought, oh, can I live in this? But when we got ready to move into our house, our friends told us, we know a pastor that just built a brand new house. And he wants American missionaries in it. And so it's bright and beautiful and clean. And that was really a desire of my heart, you know, to be in a place where I could feel comfortable. And God just does it over and over, you know. And then he meets our big needs, too. If we ask and believe, he's there for us. So here's the talker. I'll let him say.
Oh. Yes. Okay, I'm the talker. Oh, she did say the Lord knows, and we don't even have to pray, but we do pray. Okay, so don't you know, you have to keep that communication line going. Okay, we are going to talk about a day in the life of not a missionary, but a day in the life of our life. And we just quickly, we've been living in Honduras for 7 years now, and pretty much what we do down there. Yes, sir. 7 years.
Do I look over?
I know. You really, actually, oh, you look great.
Good, yeah.
Yeah, it's actually 7 years on July 3rd. July 3rd. If you ever go on the mission field, Google where you're going before you go, because we did not, for some reason, it just didn't cross my brain. And we got to Honduras thinking that it was going to be steaming hot, like it's everywhere we'd been in Honduras. We were in the mountains. July the 3rd, we almost froze to death the first night. It was so cold. Couldn't find a blanket, couldn't find anything in the apartment. We went and got used clothes the next week and got to feeling better. But that's sort of off the story. Okay, so we've been there 7 years, and our purpose there has sort of been a little different from what we originally envisioned, and I'll talk a little bit more about that toward the end if I have time. But basically, what we do there is we help other missionaries. Our primary focus is really to support other missionaries, to encourage them, lift them up, lift them up, come along beside, and just help them do their work. That's what the Lord has given them as their purpose, and He's given our purpose to help them to achieve that. So we do that, and we also look for every opportunity we can find to share the gospel in any situation, whatever it may be. And we'll talk a little more about that also. But primarily what I wanted to say, first, I'll just sort of qualify one little thing. Some of you may have been on short-term mission trips, or you know people who've been on short-term mission trips, and you've heard them talk about, their experience and all. Short-term and long-term mission is completely different. When you're on a short-term mission trip, everything is planned out. I mean, every hour you're doing something. It's, from start to finish, your schedule, you're going. For us on long-term mission trips, our life is really just like your life. It's just our job as a missionary, your job as a pastor or whatever your job may be, construction, whatever. So we still do all of the things you do. We do the basic little activities. We have to eat, so we cook. We buy groceries. We cut the grass. We clean the house. We do all of the things that everybody else does. We go on the computer and do our Facebook. We do on the computer and do our emails. You do all this stuff. It's our life. Same thing that you have here. The difference is our job is a missionary. So along with doing the basic activities that everyone does, we have scheduled activities, which are, of course, appropriate to our job, just like Larry has job responsibilities. Everyone in here that has a job responsibility, something you have to do. Be at work at 8 o'clock, come home at 5 o'clock, do whatever. So some of our scheduled activities. Okay, like I said, we work with the other missionaries down there. So there is some missionaries there. Their mission is called Team Soheim, and they have a youth group that is called Club Aslan, after the Narnia Aslan. So it's called Club Aslan. They meet every week, and we go with them every Saturday. That's our Saturday, is to meet with the youth club. And if you want to say something about that? Oh, I'm the talker. Okay, so we go there, and actually their purpose, their mission is a games ministry, which you may have never heard of. I'd never heard of it before till we met them. It's a games ministry, board games. So they have all kind of board games, everything you can imagine. And what they do
I
is
will say, in third world countries,
she does talk.
Kids do not have toys, and games are unheard of. And so this ministry really blesses the kids. They can't wait for game time. I mean, we have things before game time, and they endure, till they can get to their games, because they love playing board games and going out and playing soccer and having a real soccer ball and all that. So it's a blessing for them. And they live in a community that's pretty much all Catholic. And so we have a big opportunity to share Jesus and his love to them. So that's a blessing.
Yeah, so when basically the club starts, we come in and we get the kids together. They play a game until everyone gets there. There's some kind of joint game that everyone's playing. And then they have their structured part. They have a little motto that they say is being a team member. Almost said a gang member. As a team member, they have a little motto, they say, and and then they go through that, and then usually they'll have a speaker, someone come in from outside in the community, or they'll have something to speak on where they talk about different morals, different responsibilities as humans. So it's really tied into morality, and it's using the Bible and Scripture and Christian talk, Christian thought, for teaching morality to the kids. Now, you may not think a games ministry is real important, but these kids, when they go to school in Honduras the kids generally don't even get textbooks. School in Honduras, the teacher has a textbook, and the teacher writes on the whiteboard, and the students copy it down. They have a notebook for each class they have, and they copy down what the teacher writes, or they copy down what the teacher says. And basically, their education is memorizing and learning facts, learning dates, learning different things. So there's really no skills taught for thinking, for problem solving, for those things. So the games ministry really helps them in problem solving. I mean, just to be able to look at the kids from the time we started down there until, like this past few weeks when we left. I mean, it's amazing to see how the kids have changed in the way that they can play the games. They can think through problems. You first get down there, and you show them how to play the game, and basically they just copy what you exactly what you do. If you have something to draw, you show them, an example, they draw the exact same thing. Well, after a few years now of them working with it, these kids are so creative. I mean, they draw. They are the most creative kids I've ever seen. And they can really think through the problems, the games, they play the games, and they know the strategies. Where before, they didn't know anything. And most of the kids in Honduras, they don't, because they're not taught how to think. So that's one of our ministries we help out with. And I have got to speed up. So another ministry is Teach Me to Love. Teach Me to Love. And any of you guys who get our newsletter, you may recognize some of these. And if you don't get our newsletter, I'll give you the information. I'll have the information somewhere that you can get it before you leave tonight. But Teach Me to Love is a ministry that runs a special needs school. And right now they have, the school year runs the regular school year for the U.S., for the special needs school, and for all the private schools there. So they're out of school right now. Normal school in Honduras runs from February to November, because coffee harvest is November to February, and the whole family harvests coffee out during that time. So they're out right now, and the missionaries are back in the States raising funds for next year. But currently, this past year, they had 16 kids, I believe, in there, and there's a waiting list of 8 or 10. And it's amazing to see, again, with them, the difference in the kids, the way they learn, the way they have advanced. I mean, you've got kids that, they couldn't even speak when they come in, and now they're talking. They're making making sense when they talk to you. They know what they're saying, and they've only been there like a year or 2 years. So it's pretty amazing. You have anything to add to that?
Got.
Okay.
Oh, the focus is still Christ-based. And so as they learn the alphabets, it's by, the cross, the tomb. It's biblically based as they learn their alphabets. And so through everything they do is Christ-centered. And so a lot of the parents have come and wanted to know more about what you're talking about, And some have received Christ, and some of them come to church. And it's just amazing, One little girl, she loves to sing, and so she gets up and holds a microphone and sings. Not that good, but she loves it. And it's an honor for God to hear her, I'm sure. That she loves to pray too. So at the end of her song, she goes around and prays for everybody. And it's so sincere and so touching. And it's just, we've had visitors come in and they said, I've never felt the Spirit of God like I've felt in your place. And so that's a real blessing to be a part of this ministry and to see the children grow and develop.
And I have to add, the girl that goes around and prays for everyone, we went to their church also, and we saw how she was involved in their church because her uncle is the pastor. So she would actually go up and sing with the worship team. And it's a very charismatic church and all. And actually, a lot of these kids, they don't speak real clear Spanish, so you can't really understand a lot of what they're saying. But you can understand most of what she says, and when she goes around praying, she's praying in tongues. She's not praying Spanish, and she's really, it's the real deal. It's amazing. It's totally amazing. Okay, little pastor. Okay, so another group. Another missionary we work with is Sharon, and her ministry is Buscar Amor en Obras, which is love and works. And with her, we go to the hospital twice a month and visit the children's ward, pray with the kids and the families that are there. There is socialized medicine in Honduras, so I can give you some great recommendations for social. No, believe me not. But it's different. It's you don't want it. So we do that with her. We go to church. We have a church. Actually, John and Alicia at the special needs school. They're the pastors. He preaches in English. She translates into Spanish because she was a missionary kid in Mexico, so she's fluent in Spanish. It's a small church, about 20. Robin and I and John and Alicia are the only North Americans. Everybody else is Hondurans. Pretty much maybe 3 families. And we have prayer time on Monday mornings with Sharon. All morning, about 3 hours or so, we get together and we pray for everybody and everything that we can imagine.
And we've seen results from these prayers. It's a blessing, because we work in the prison system, and we have prayed over that, because Gene will probably give you details, but we've seen such changes. We prayed for change, and they've changed from the top down, for the better. And so they accept us and they invite us in. And so that's just a great answer to prayer, and we're so thankful.
Okay, yes. And Monday nights, there's Bible study with other missionaries that we know. But yeah, we help all the other missionaries, but as I said, we try to spread the gospel wherever God gives us the opportunities. And he did give us the opportunity to go into the prison. As you may remember, the ones who were here last time we spoke or whatever, I was in search of the man. If you might remember that story, I can tell it if we have time. If not, I can meet with people afterwards. And I love to tell stories, as you can tell. So I was in search for the man, and we started working with an alcoholic ministry. And I'm like, this is the man. The man symbolizes these alcoholic men, and it's great. It's going great. We ran into administrative issues with the ministry. The guy that was running it was doing some things that were not really above board. There were some issues. A couple of the guys died. The way it works down there is, up here you've got alcoholic ministries and you got doctors and you got psychologists, and stuff. Down there we got one director guy with no medical experience, and he's sticking IVs in people's arms, and they're doing stuff. So we had to sort of distance ourselves from that ministry, but the Lord is good, because we left that ministry it was August or September, August I think it was. In October was our first visit to the prison. So, and then we've been going to the prison ever since. So at the prison was built for 75 people. There's 340 inmates, plus 8 women. Women are kept in a totally separate section. But we get to go in there monthly right now and bring the word. We're working with them to try to get a weekly Bible study started. So that's what we need prayer for. That's one of the things that we're really trying to get started. So I'm really trying to focus a lot on the prison ministry and getting that going a little bit more activities there. And then the third part of life in the ministry or life anywhere is you've got your unplanned activities. And you have a lot of unplanned activities down there. You never know what's going to come up when you wake up in the morning. One thing is, we're friends with all the missionaries. Well, the missionaries don't have family down there to help them with things. So what do? They call us. So we help a lot of missionaries. Everything from flat tires and having to drive an hour and a half to go help with a flat tire to, people's water being their cistern is empty because their pump wasn't cut off and it drained it out. And everything you can imagine, you get a call about. We have several missionaries who do not have vehicles, so they take taxis or walk everywhere they go. A lot of times you cannot get a taxi, especially on holidays. So we turn into a taxi on some occasions with our truck that Joyland helped provide. Thank you. Thank God. Praise God. And, we've carried people to the hospital on multiple occasions, taken a mother to deliver. Of course, we had to go twice. The first time was false labor. You know how women are. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Okay. But yeah, we did a lot of, taking a lot of people to the hospital, taking women home from the hospital with their baby. They're at the hospital. most of them, actually, most of them have C-sections. Reason being is we live in La Esperanza, which is sort of the regional hub for the whole state of Intibucá. And when women get ready to deliver about a week before their date, they come down to the hospital. And there's a building behind the hospital that the women stay in until they're ready to deliver. So when their delivery date comes up, they go and do a C-section if they haven't had it yet, because, I mean, they can't stay there any longer. They don't have money. They barely had money to get down there if they didn't have to walk. And after they have the baby, they are basically, they put out on the street with their kids and they have to find their way home. Well, they generally don't have money because this is the free hospital. And so we've taken women home with their newborn babies just because to keep them from having to walk 20 miles because they didn't have bus fare. So there's a lot of unforeseen things that pop up, which are a lot of unforeseen things in your life. It's exactly the same. Only difference is we are missionaries and your job is something else. And what I want to say is that, we all have a purpose. We all have a plan from God. So, it's not that we are any better than anyone else. We just have a different job that God has given us. And all I want to do is, after I drink water, all I want to do is encourage you to make sure that you are doing the job, the purpose, the plan that God has in your life. And, it may take time. The Lord told me when I was 40 years old to start preparing to go on the mission field. And I didn't go until I was, 55 or something like that. So, it takes time to prepare sometimes. The Lord's not going to tell you to do something and throw you into something that you're going to sink. He's there to help. He's there to provide. You just need to make sure you listen to what he says. Don't get ahead of him. Don't jump in front of him. And you may be exactly where you're supposed to be right now. Most of you probably are. But just make sure that you are where the Lord wants you to be. You're doing what the Lord wants you to do. And there's nothing wrong with being a construction worker here or there or whatever. You've got the opportunity to witness to other construction workers. So I think my time is up. So thank you so much.
Oh, yeah. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah.
Larry?
I nearly got finished.
A couple of questions. I was actually listening to a story, some kind of news report or something, just about 2 weeks ago, really. And they said something about a city in Honduras being one of the most dangerous cities in the whole Central American region. Do you guys have any interaction with that? Is it a dangerous place down there?
Yes. San Pedro Sula it has been known for many, many, many years as the murder capital of the world. More murders per capita, you know what I'm saying, than anywhere else. And the problem is gang activity. There's a lot of gangs in San Pedro. But again, just like our job is a missionary and your job is something else. We live in Honduras. You live here. There are places in Woodland Park that are dangerous, I'm sure. Places you wouldn't want to go at night. I mean, San Pedro Sula is the same thing. There's a lot of dangerous places, but you just need to know where to go and where not to go. You stay out of trouble. You can stay out of trouble if you want to. Look on the news, when you see all these people disappearing, 90% of them had just visited a bar. I don't want to offend anybody, but stay out of a bar if you don't want to get abducted. That's just,
Okay.
Just think.
It provoked me to pray for you guys, though, because it was a surprise to me that
San Pedro Sula
because it was billed as the most dangerous city in the
it is
Western
very
Hemisphere.
dangerous.
Yeah.
Very dangerous.
And then, so my second question is, in those unplanned events, whether it's going someplace to help somebody with a breakdown or taking a mom home, new mom, what's one of the most surprising, special things that happened as a result of something like that?
It's your turn to talk. Well, people down there are very appreciative. I mean, like there's an elderly lady that lives down the road from us, and she walks up and down the road all the time. And basically, she leaves in the morning, and then she comes back in the afternoon with a gigantic bundle of sticks because that's what she burns in her stove. So that's her job every day is to go out and gather sticks for the family. And she's probably